Peace family, what's going on? This is Brother Rob here with another episode, another edition here in Ijikadi African Martial Arts. So what we're talking about today are the yams. And I know I'm not talking about sweet potatoes, okay? I know it's Thanksgiving season here in the States. And so, please make sure y'all get an extra serving of sweet potatoes. They are good for you, okay? Make sure you eat your sweet potatoes. What I'm talking about today is the acronym YAM. We're talking about yams. These are your agents of Mentacide. Your agents of Mentacide, that's what it stands for. These are individuals in your life that suck your energy, that drain you, that pull you, that bring you down. Anything that you're trying to accomplish, they are right there in front of you, typically, or even behind you, pulling you back or pushing you back. Either way. So what am I talking about? Your agents of Mentacide. So Mentacide is not a term that I created. Got that term from one of our elders. And it basically means just as you would think it sounds, right? So we understand suicide, homicide, meaning death, right? And so Mentacide is that mental destruction, that mental death. So people, are people who are mentacidal, right? These are individuals that are destroying themselves, that are killing their minds, right? But not just killing their own minds, but those around them as well. And so it's infectious, it's contagious. And so they make it their goal, okay, to spread, right? More menticide to those around them. And a lot of times it is unconscious. A lot of times they're not aware that they're doing it, but that is just their mode of being. That's just what they do. That's just kind of how they operate. But for you, right, as a person of African descent, as a black person, black man, black woman, whatever you happen to be, but and if you're trying to build in your community, you need to be mindful of those that want to tear you down, right? And so, or if you're just trying to build a better life for yourself and your family, you want to be mindful of those that are around you that just suck your energy, that just drain you. Anytime you bring something up, right, they're just right there to tell you why you can't do it or why it's not going to work. Or if you ask them for help, they have all these excuses and you come to rely on them. They have all these reasons why they can't do it, and it can be discouraging because oftentimes your agents of Mentacide, those agents of who are self-destructive in your life, these are oftentimes the people that you're trying to help, right? Because, how many times have you tried to help somebody, right? And they either reject your help or they take your help, don't thank you for it, and then find themselves back in the same situation. It happens so often, and it can be very draining for your energy, and it can make you frustrated if you continually feed the yams, if you continually support and give your resources, give your time, give your money, give your energy to those, again, agents of Mentacide that are just going to destroy and kill anything that you give them, right? Because once they take it in, they're still destructive. They're still destroying themselves and, again, spreading that to those around them. And so a lot of us, and I'm speaking right now to those who have a passion for their community, passion for the elevation and upliftment of Black people globally, right? Have more of a Pan-African, meaning a unity mindset in terms of unifying us, because that is survival, right? Is unity, that is upliftment, that is empowerment, is by doing things together, right? Togetherness, that's a core value, right? We learn about with the upcoming Kwanzaa season coming up, right? So we learn about unity, but again, agents of Mentacide, right? They're not about that. They're about self, right? They're about themselves and focusing on what's in their interest. Oftentimes, folks who are mentacidal in their psychology, they don't identify themselves as even African or as Black even in a lot of cases. And so these individuals, oftentimes, those conversations, those terminologies, that's just not relevant to who they are and how they identify themselves. It could be any number of reasons or causes, right? Sometimes they're very religious, and so they identify more with their religious belief. Sometimes they view themselves in a particular ethnicity or ethnic group, right? And they identify with that, but they're not uniting with the greater whole, with their greater community. And so until we start doing that and uniting and bringing each other up and supporting, the concept of Ubuntu, right? I am because you are, right? It's a South African philosophy, principle, concept that really applies to all of us as African people. But agents of Mentacide, again, they're not viewing themselves in that context. And so these are folks that that you'll probably see around the holidays, around the holiday season, whether you celebrate holidays or not, right? A lot of us feel obligated to at least, we're going to be around our families, we're going to be around our friends and things like that. And so I'm sure we have people that we grew up with, that we associate with, that are around us in our circle who are mentacidal, right? Who are self-destructive and destroying themselves and those around them and their community. And so be on the lookout for that, right? Because it's very, very tempting to try to help individuals like that, because a lot of times they have this very good sob story, this really good story about why they are the way they are. And if they just had a helping hand, and if they just, had this or they had that, then they would be a lot better off. And, but yet they don't take advantage of the resources, the things that they do have. And when you do try to help, right, then they're not receptive to it, or they are receptive, but they don't take action on it. And so I see this a lot, because I'm in the community trying to help, trying to support, but a lot of times the efforts are not reciprocated, right? There's no reciprocity, which is one of our principles of Ma'at, but it's not reciprocated and it's not appreciated. So I just want to put that out there for you guys, just to be on the alert against folks who, have that mentacidal framework, right? Don't identify themselves as African, or they're not Afrikan-centered. They're not really about that life, supporting the community. They're individualistic. A lot of times they're very, consumer based, right? They're materialistic, right? They're focusing on the distractions, right? Whether it is, politics, or they're focused on their favorite sports team. They're watching the football game during, Thanksgiving, or they're focused more so on whatever their religious institute has going on and what's going on in the church or the mosque or whatever spiritual system that they practice, right? But they're not concerned about the state of, Black America and Black people globally in the diaspora. And so, if you have that kind of concern, if you have that kind of framework, that's what we're talking about on this channel in Ijikadi, right? African martial arts. It really is martial arts as a means to restore our cultural identity, right? Because that's what was lost. And so if you look around, you look at the state of no matter where you look, I'm talking about America because I'm in America, right? But you look at Black America or Black Europe or Black, fill in the blank, right? Black Brazil, and the state of where we are globally, right? It's undeniable that the cause of that has been the Ma'afa, right? Has been colonialism and slavery and things like that. And so, but nowadays, a lot of us are doing this to ourselves, right? A lot of us are mentally enslaved, right? And so we still have that kind of slave mentality, so to speak, and we're operating and functioning like that, right? We're not operating as a free and independent people and a self-determinate people, right? We're not operating as a nation whatsoever. And most of us don't have not even programmed in our minds, right? And that's what I'm talking about when we talk about Mentacide. Again, not my term, but I like that term, and I want to use that term to help us associate, and so we can protect ourselves and protect our energy, okay? So as we go into this holiday season, I want you guys to protect your energy, okay? Protect your energy against those that will take your energy and suck it, right? And leave you high and dry. And it makes, having been a victim of that, right? I've learned, and I want to share this, but it makes you then want to quit. It makes you want to give up. It makes you want to stop trying, because the folks that you're trying to help, are the yams, okay? And so you have to, shift your focus and look for those who are truly going to value what you have to offer, right? Whatever it is that you have to offer this world, your community, in this lifetime, and the purpose that the Creator put you, here for in this time and place. So you got to find that, right? And you got to be open to that. Don't settle for those that will willingly take what you want, or take what you're offering, right? And, but then not reciprocate and not do anything with it. So just want to leave you guys with that note. Protect your energy this season. Be on the lookout, right? And when you see someone who has that framework, has that mindset, they may be a good person, not saying they're a bad person. They may be a very good person, but they can be still a good person and still very mentacidal and not understand their connection to their creator, not understand their connection to their community, right? To their ancestry, right? And ultimately to where we're from in terms of our African heritage or African descent and our culture, right? Culture being identity. And so, you know, be on the lookout for that, right? Still try to help if you have the energy to, but again, don't pour everything out to those that aren't going to reciprocate and appreciate and value and take action on those things, okay? So that's my tips for you. If you liked our content, please share this video, support our channel. Pick up a shirt, by the way, Ijikadi Afrikan Martial Arts, pick up a shirt. It really helps support us, help us to grow our channel. We'll see you in the next video.
The purpose of our organization is to start right here in Harlem, which has the largest concentration of people of African descent that exists anywhere on this earth. There are more Africans here in Harlem than exist in any city on the African continent, because that's what you and I are, Africans.